was little things like the camera, drill man not being able to hold the camera, and that sort of stuff. And then you actually had some pretty good ideas, like bringing back the awesome joke for Toadman. And that was kind of funny because Toadman was just the throwaway bit in the original Ask Pharaoh Man thing, where Pharaoh Man basically insults Toadman on the air, and then you took that and you took the idea from the Vacation cartoon where he said "awesome"
Yeah,
all the time,
that was an
and just
inside.
made that work.
I'm not sure how many people picked up on that one, but yeah, that was one thing that one scene where Magnet Man keeps finding things in the sand was was one of my favorite moments that took place in any of those cartoons. For some reason or another, I just loved the way the interaction went with them. But having Cossack in between was key for the transitions. I don't know, and the funny thing was we didn't even write the those parts to how you're saying you were struggling with the transitions a little bit, but if we didn't even think about that really when during the writing process. It was just something that kind of naturally.
Well, how did you do those bits anyway? Did you just was there a script, or were they actually like saying the stuff they were saying?
Well, actually, what happened was with some of them, with Koi Kitsune, I asked him to specifically ask about the request situation as a way of kind of answering the question to a lot of people. This was before I started doing FAQ videos. Because a lot of people would always ask, "Oh, do you take requests?" And what do you think about this? So I figured I would kind of answer that question through that video. So I had him, just ask it, and then I gave him the creative freedom to actually request games himself. So that gave him, some creative freedom in there instead of just doing whatever whatever I told him to do. With Goose, I actually told him to with him, I just said, just send whatever. I really don't have any particular specifics I really need you to throw at me, but just like pretend that you're a guest, you're a caller. And so he sent in actually 3 different voices. 2 of them weren't even, one of them was like a Mexican voice or something. They were pretty funny, but I kind of wanted to keep the one where he spoke normally for 2 reasons, because it made the fact that all 3 of them were the actual, their normal voices, and they were all playing the roles of their real, online counterparts, keeping it consistent. And also because there's a subtle joke about our future collaboration review in there that we had talked about like 3 years ago. That little joke is kept in there, and that's the reason why I kept that one, despite the fact that he disagreed and thought that the other ones were more entertaining and funny. But I wanted to keep that one for that reason. And then Guru Larry was the same thing. I just said something related to Mega Man, I guess, and so that's where he asked about Dr. Wily's reasoning for designing robots whose powers overtake each other, and it's something that any Mega Man fan really has had it subconsciously in their minds, wondering why the hell he would allow the powers to be weaknesses to each other.
Yeah, there's no real answer to that, real like reasonable answer. It's just a game.
And the funny thing was,
convention of the games.
The funny thing was, he didn't even know what I was gonna answer with, so he just kept those little pauses in there, and then I answered him, and all the answers that I had worked great with his counter reactions.
Yeah.
So that was all I really had to do was add an effect with Adobe Audition to make it sound like it was a phone conversation, and then send it to you, and bam, there it was. The only thing about that video I didn't like was the microphone that I used. I used a lower quality mic than I had at the time, because the other one was in need of a repair. So there was a little bit of a buzz if you listen close enough.
So what's your favorite Robot Master, Ken?
If I know I never really like go to bed at night knowing that I have on one particular robot master that's definitive that is always at the top completely and it just stands out amongst all the rest of them. But I mean, it's hard for me not to say Metal Man because not just I mean, obviously his weapon is the most badass, but that has nothing to do with why I like, like the weapons don't necessarily translate to anything to do with how much I like or dislike the Robot Masters. I mean, he's fucking metal. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. He's
Yeah, I'm fucking Metal Man. Don't fuck with me.
he pretty much has like all the characteristics that a Robot Master should. And really, the first Mega Man had all the basics down, like everything that like fire, ice, and bombs, and everything was really to its roots. And before Dr. Wily started making robots that attacked with plants and stars and things that just didn't make any sense logically.
It got a little bit more cartoony.
Yes, exactly.
Well, sort of. Well, I think the first batch of Robot Masters is pretty cartoony too, and
they definitely are cartoony. The series is, but I mean that's a good thing about it though. Is that it's not taken too seriously. It's
yeah, it's not like the Mega Man X games where it's where there's
same thing with the storyline.
Big epic storyline.
Yeah, the storyline in Mega Man's never meant to be. Obviously, with like every Mega Man since Mega Man 3, it's always been a Dr. Wily's not really behind it this time. Oh wait, yeah, he is. I mean, everybody knows what's going on now, but
yeah, that's pretty much it. I do. It's weird though to read stuff like I actually read very recently the whole Mega Man Mega Mix manga, the Japanese comic book, and that's where they start to kind of try to put some more serious storyline elements into it, and it always feels a little corny, trying to make it more serious like that. So
yeah, it's tough to take it seriously.
I guess I gravitate more towards the comical myself when I do these cartoons.
Yeah, it definitely is a better fit, especially with the when you combine the Mega Man atmosphere along with the way the storylines go in the series in general, along with the the animation style that you use, all that it has to be comedic.
That sort of the animation style sort of originated from the fact that when I made the first Robot Master cartoon, which was the whole interview thing, this was just characters sitting in one place and they were sort of drawn sort of hastily and things like that, and then it got a little better. So we had a couple of people asking us about the names of the Robot Masters assumed in the MOPD 20XX cartoon. First of all, what did you think of that cartoon?
That one was by far my favorite. It was the most involved. It was for one thing. It also what made it different from the rest of them is that it really had less to do with Mega Man, the walkthrough itself, than anything else. I mean, the whole premise of the story was that there was a missing walkthrough video that was had been taken, but it wasn't. None of them were as treated as a preview. The rest of them were teasers. Like the first one was a press conference regarding the walkthrough. The second one was me trying to get ideas from the Robot Masters themselves about the walkthrough, and then the other one was a talk show where I talked about the walkthrough. So everything centered around the walkthroughs in the old ones. And this one, it was just like almost, aside from the walkthrough being the missing loop, if you will. Everything else about it was completely done from scratch and original, even though it was based off of the police dramas and it was
sort of a parody, really, or a spoof.
There was a lot of spoofs on a lot of cliches.
I thought your voice was really just fit the sort of narration really well, which is why I thought it was a good idea to do it that way.
Yeah, it all made sense.
But then the main problem was then, of course, am I going to keep referring to all the Robot Masters because they're in different roles as the Robot Masters? I thought, no, I can't do that. I got to come up with these names And some people wondered where did the names come from, and actually the names themselves are sort of like jokes, but they are all just really retarded jokes. Uh, First of all, well, Crystal Davis, that wasn't really anything special. That was just me adding a name to the Crystal Dave, and of course he's running a crystal meth lab, or so we think. That sort of seemed to be the obvious thing that you're accusing of him in the cartoon, and instead it's something much more mild. It's just like making fake IDs. But then there is. I'll give an example why there's such why there's such retarded origins to the names. Like Waveman McCulkin, I actually took from Macaulay Culkin. So I kind of mushed it together to make it McCulkin, and it's really retarded. But that's where honestly that's what I was thinking of when I was thinking of a name that would sound kind of distinct.